For those of you who has an interest in the intellectual dark web and the current culture war going on various social media platforms, you might be familiar with this story from 2017 concerning the Bråvalla music festival in Sweden, where 4 reports of rape and 23 reports of sexual assault led it to be cancelled in 2018. This also led to a declaration that in 2018 organizers would instead arrange for a music festival where men would be barred from entering in order to prevent rape and sexual assault. And they did exactly that, and the broader public was none too happy about it. And this article from the Metro is testament to what happens when people in a secular society attempts to exclude people based on non-negotiable characteristics. Man-Free Feminist Musical Festival found guilty of discrimination in Sweden. It had been billed as the world's first major music festival for women, non-binary and transgender people. So it wasn't exactly off limits to men. It was only off limits to men who identified as men. However, a man-free music festival in Sweden has now been found guilty of discrimination. Men were allowed to buy tickets to the event, but many, including technicians, managers and artists' entourages, were restricted to a man pen in the backstage area. The event, called Statement, was held in the city of Gothenburg, but the country's discrimination ombudsman said it was illegal. Spokesman Claes Lundstedt said, "It is important to point out what an infringement is. These are the statements made before the festival, what they wrote on their website." Still, we haven't been able to prove that someone would have been discriminated against in connection with the implementation or that someone would have been rejected. The festival organizers hit back saying they were too busy changing the world to comment. They wrote on Facebook, "Hi, Ombudsman. We are aware of your decision, and we think it's sad that 5,000 women, non-binary, someone who identifies as neither male nor female, and transgender witnessed at a life-changing festival experience, a few cis men, someone whose gender identity matches their anatomical birth gender, get caught up." The success of the Statement Festival shows that we need it, and the decision did not change that fact. Otherwise, we have no comments. We are too busy changing the world. The festival was organized by Swedish comedian Emma Knyckare in response to rape and sexual assault claims at festivals. It received 3,000 pledges totaling £48,060 to make the festival happen. She suggested the idea after it emerged there were allegedly 4 rapes and 23 sexual assaults that took place at Sweden's biggest music festivals, Bråvalla, in June 2017. The festival, which featured big acts including The Killers, Linkin Park and Travis Scott, has now been cancelled for next year. In 2016, there were 5 rapes and 12 sexual assaults reported at the Bråvalla festival. Festival owners claim these incidents had a big effect on ticket sales. This year, which went from 52,000 in 2016 to 45 tickets this year. Lundstedt added, "Clearly we believe that sexual abuse, especially at festivals, is a serious problem. So we are looking forward to trying to correct this. However, it shouldn't happen in a way that violates the law, which their statement in the media and their website do." What I ultimately find interesting is their statement that they view a gender-segregated event as a success, and that they are too busy changing the world to comment any further than what they have. Imagine if the circumstances of this debacle was based on race, that the people of African descent was forced to be confined in black pens. People would lose their minds so fast that it would make a rocket seem like a snail, and rightfully so. I also think it's worth mentioning that the people arranging the festival completely fails to mention the more than 160,000 immigrants that Sweden has taken in, who are vastly overrepresented in the Swedish crime statistics, the few that there are. Though they have gotten better, the Swedish government has been very afraid to publicly declare that they are aware of the overrepresentation of migrants in crime statistics in fear of being labeled as racists. I'm not saying that all immigrants are rapists, but when it comes to cultural heritage, I think it's worth noting that in some Middle Eastern countries, women who does not cover up are seen as lesser or as prostitutes and therefore fair game for sexual assault. This entire situation could have been much less encompassing had the Swedish government taken ownership of the problems which they helped set in motion. On this topic, I would like to point to Finland as a good example of how to treat these symptoms of taking in people who might have a culture very different to yours. Because in most cases, people who come to a new country want to learn its customs, however foreign they might be. When in Rome, do as the Romans. This is yet another example of how when people go out of their way to restrict the freedom of others, no matter how much you mask it with compassion, people with common sense will recognize discrimination in any shape or form. Links to all the articles can be found in the description down below. Thank you for watching and take care.